Hi and welcome to my channel. I've always wanted to make a book tag video just because they seem so fun to make. But they also seem a bit inaccessible just because I never feel like I've read enough books to participate in them. But today I found the perfect solution in the international BookTuber tag. This book tag is made by Only If For a Page, a Czech booktuber, and it's made for us non-native English speakers. So the first question is, where are you from and what is your native language? And I'm from a small place on the western part of Norway and I speak Norwegian, some English, and I could probably order cheesecake in German, but that's about it. The second question is, in what languages do you read books? And this is quite the journey for me because I started out thinking I would only read English books just because I would enhance my English and get better at it. Then I started buying used books and most of them are Norwegian and it's more difficult to get hold of the English ones. Then I thought I would read the native English books in English and then read all the other ones in Norwegian. But now I'm at the stage where I read classics in Norwegian, all of the classics nearly, just because the language is kind of slow sometimes and I read a little bit faster in Norwegian, not by a lot. I also tend to read non-fiction in Norwegian instead of English for the same reason. Question number 3. Is there booktube in your native language, and if so, what is the community like? I really don't think there is. If it is, I haven't discovered it. There is this one channel which is called Meremonologer Aae, and she is like the teacher you would like to have in high school but you maybe didn't have, or you didn't pay attention at all. And she goes through Norwegian authors and Norwegian classic literature for the most part. Those videos I very much enjoy, so you could say she's a Norwegian booktuber, but I don't think there's a community. Instagram is a different story. There's a lot of people reading Norwegian literature and talking about it in Norwegian. So Bookstagram and Booktube are two very different worlds in Norway at least. And now over to question number 4. Is there a Booktube community in your native language? Why did you decide to join the international one? Well, it's quite simple. I thought I would speak English just to challenge myself even more. I thought, what's worse than speaking English? Well, speaking English in front of camera. I don't think my English has gotten any better yet, but in some years maybe I'll look back and think, well, it helped. I also thought that by speaking English I would speak to people from around the world, and that seemed more exciting to me than speaking to many Norwegians, which is something I do quite often. A little fun fact, when I watched my first ever YouTube video in playback, I thought that my English voice was a lot more pleasant to listen to than my Norwegian, so that's kinda weird. If you have an explanation, please comment below. Are there any struggles or challenges for you as a non-native English speaker? And yes, there is. Not only am I not an English native speaker, but I'm also not a person that have read a lot before. That has resulted in me having crap grammar. And so often I spend a lot of time filming these videos. Many videos that become 10-minute videos are basically me rambling on here for about 2 hours maybe, just because I can't get my point across. There's one struggle in particular, and it's that I have a lot more words in Norwegian than I have in English. And of course my vocabulary can evolve and develop and become larger, and often I have the right words in my head, but when I get a bit stressed and talk in front of camera, I sort of use the same words over and over again, and that frustrates me a lot. Also, sometimes I say something out loud, but my brain won't register that I've spoken the words, and so afterwards I've stopped filming and I go back to my computer and I watch the video and I can clearly hear myself saying the wrong things, but it hasn't been registered. And that's why often my videos have a huge amount of spelling errors just because I can't delete it all. Over to an easier question. How do you get hold of English books? I mainly buy my books on BookTuber, where I am an affiliate, but I also try to buy most books thrifted. Most of my English purchases are through thrift stores, but the ones that are not are through BookTuber. Now over to one of the bigger questions. What is the best thing about being a part of the international community? There are a lot of things to say here, but I think getting recommendations from people that live in a country where you haven't read any books before is a very fun part of being a part of this community. Another thing is how fun it is for me as Norwegian to hear your thoughts on Norwegian books seen from the outside. Growing up in Norway with these books, you really see the literature from within with all of the hours on the school bench, but your perspectives are fun to have with me on my booktube journey, so that's one of the things I really enjoy. I also really just enjoy the thought of discussing literature with people from around the globe. One last positive thing about the booktube community in general is exactly that. People are so positive, and I very rarely get negative feedback on my channel at all, which is kind of surprising, but I really love it. And the last question, do you watch other international booktube channels? Shout out a channel that you found recently. Well, I can't say that I've watched that many international booktube channels, just because there are so many British and American channels that caught me before them. That being said, when I started out on booktube, I was very warmly greeted by Lunacia Books and Silje's channel. So those two are basically my Norwegian booktube friends, I feel. Those are the international booktubers I watched the most. So that was an easy question. And those two are also on a completely different level than I am, so I often feel like I learn something when I watch their videos. Just to have one recent channel, I recently discovered Travel Through Stories, which I know many of you know. And Sean, I believe, lives in the US, but he talks a lot about Nordic literature, which is very, very fun. So that's one channel I would recommend. I'll link to all of these channels below. There you have it, a kind of different video this time, but I really enjoyed making it. If you have suggestions for tags I should do, or videos I should make, or anything in general, just comment below, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!